Do business, act business. Business matter. That's the business. Business matter. That's the business. Business matter. That's the business. Business matter.
As a business entity, it's either you evolve or you dissolve. The world we're playing right now is all about the digital economy. It's all about online and it's all about cyberspace. It's important for us to understand that as business and as individuals and definitely ensure we are well protected against not just fraud, but of course the risk that comes with being digitally exposed. You're welcome to Business Matters, Nigeria's premier business platform. My name is Stephen Ipalabo Lawson. On this platform, business truly matters.
Business matter. That's the business. Business matter.
Businesses, whether large or small, have invested so much money in their technology and processes. This investment is actually driven with an agenda for profitability as well as for reputation protection. How you are able to create systems or create structures that can help you to be risk averse or settling to be very much prepared in case of fraud will definitely determine what your future will be about. Let us have our business update.
Business matter.
Hey, beautiful. Your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight. Now reading page 3. Experience unlimited super-fast internet access from Intel 4G.
Intel. Live more.
Business matter.
On Business Matters, we bring the best experts to help us understand the topic of the day. This is our professionals segment.
Business matter.
Thank you for still keeping tuned with us on Business Matters. Right now in the studio is the partner Risk Advisory and the head of Cyber Risk Services of Deloitte West Africa. He's also the Chief Strategy Officer for Deloitte West Africa, a position he has held for quite some while. He's an international individual because his paper and his keynote addresses has actually spanned several countries, as a matter of fact. And his annual publication, which is the titled Nigeria Cybersecurity Outlook, has become a very reliable forecast, and especially when it has to do with issues focusing on cyber security. As a matter of fact, he is leading the largest cybersecurity team in Nigeria, and as a matter of fact, took them to the Cyber Olympic in 2015, and they came out the best from the African region. It actually has provided assurance and advisory services to over 30 companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and as well as over 85% of the commercial banks, as a matter of fact, with over 75% of the GSN market. It's no other person than Mr. Tope Aladenusi. And we are going to be looking at the topic, Cybersecurity Outlook in the New Normal. How are you, Tope? You're welcome to Business Matters.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It's a great pleasure and honor. As a matter of fact, I know there was an event of recent that looked at the economic outlook from your organization, and it helps us to touch so much about the direction the country is going to be going, especially in 2021, which is 1 year after the coronavirus pandemic hit the world. But as a way of starting up, how have you been keeping safe? I mean, are you working from home or you're working from the office?
I work from home mostly. All through January, I was at home. I didn't even go to the office at all. Although we have provisions to go to the office, but we largely work from home.
Well, that makes a whole lot of sense because none of us wants to come down with the coronavirus. As a matter of fact, it's not been an easy thing for a lot of people. I can imagine in your own case, the story is not different.
Yes, it's not. It's not. It's like they call it the new normal, and everybody need to adjust. Everything has gone online right now, and those who don't evolve, we eventually dissolve over time. So we have also evolved.
That's impressive. That's a good way to put it. Those who don't evolve will obviously dissolve in a long time to come. Now, as a way of kicking up, a lot of people wonder what cybersecurity is all about. Is it just about data? Is it about just information protection? I mean, you are a leading expert in this field. As a matter of fact, your publication gives a lot of us in terms of trend and direction to which we have to look at in cybersecurity. Will you mind to educate us to exactly what cybersecurity means and what it entails?
Okay, thank you so much. That's a very good question because many times when people hear of security, they think of the military and the police and some other law enforcement agencies. But cybersecurity has come home and is now everybody's business. Why is it so? When you say cyber, we are talking about the cyberspace, what people generally call online, where we do our daily interaction. Now, we've been talking about the new normal, and it's a common conversation that everybody is mentioning. The new normal is actually a cyber normal, if you check it very well. Many companies are working, from home, and they are discussing very confidential information, things that in the past they will lock themselves in a room to discuss strategy, the business direction. Now those things are done online. Now our transactions are largely online. Many of us do online transactions. We buy things online. We transact our banks online. Our education is online. We have a situation we've done online. My children, even in primary school, are schooling online. Our businesses, our companies, even our children are online. Can you imagine these days, children of 5, 4 to 10 years old schooling online, and we have things like child pornography that are targeting these children, making them to see things that even adults never saw. So the challenge is that because we have now all moved to cyberspace, everything is being done in cyberspace, which is what we call online. How do we protect ourselves in this new environment that we now do everything in? So cybersecurity, in a nutshell, is seen from 3 angles. We call it confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We should be able to trust this data, trust this information that will be shared online. If you go online to make a purchase, as you click buy and you put in your account details, you should trust that it's deducted. You should trust that your bank account details that you have online, when you transact with it, it remains the same. So trust, you need to trust the systems. And the last one is availability. You for instance, imagine trying to go to your bank to transfer money and they say, sorry, the system said we cannot find server. You can't accept that. So once anything we're doing to ensure confidentiality, to ensure integrity, to ensure availability, that is what cybersecurity is all about. And if you look at everybody today, that's what we are actually doing. We are doing those things, whether consciously or unconsciously, to make sure that we protect ourselves.
It's interesting you've actually mentioned this. As a matter of fact, I'm fully educated as a result of what you've actually helped me understand. And I know that for us on this program, which is a business and economic platform, the major concern will be, on behalf of our viewers, will be what kind of impact does it have to do? Because you had mentioned earlier on that if you don't evolve, you will dissolve. And a lot of the engagements that people have online, they are very confidential engagements. What are some of those security risks or economic impact that cybersecurity can have on a business if that business obviously does not evolve?
Many times people ask and say, how does it concern me? Of course, the first one that is very obvious is the financial impact, monetary impact. There was a report in the newspaper that the 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 cyber fraud cases in banks for Q3 of 2020 was over 530% more than Q3 in 2019. So for the same period, it was 530 something percent more. What does that mean? Many organizations are losing money because of cyber fraud. Cyber criminals are targeting organizations, and they do it through several ways. Apart from the hacking, which people are very familiar with, or phishing, business email compromises, and the rest of them, there is something called the ransomware, which is very common across all industries right now. The ransomware is like cyber kidnapping, whereby the bad guys send a program to your system to encrypt it, and once it's encrypted, like kind of lock the system, you need to pay some ransom in Bitcoin for them to release your computer and your data to you. So the first is monetary loss, but beyond monetary loss, there's also reputational loss, and that's very damaging because that is difficult to quantify. Imagine a situation whereby the institutions that you do business with, you can't trust them again because their systems have been breached. Then if they don't have business because of lack of trust, then it's just a matter of time, they will no longer be in business. And that's why we're talking about evolve or dissolve. If you don't evolve and have the right security measures in place, you either lose money, you lose reputation, you lose staff, you lose time, and that will eventually make you to lose the business.
Well, that's interesting because, and at the same time, it's kind of scary as well. What we imagine, especially in a country like ours, Nigeria, we obviously we are facing so much challenges. We have issues that we need to obviously overcome. Do we see an outlook that is gloomy, or we see an outlook that is filled with a lot of light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, unfortunately, I don't like to sound like a prophet of doom, but if you look at the trend and this outlook, we don't just sit down and guess what it's like to happen. We have a number of data in our cyber intelligence center that points to the direction things are going. And just even look at the world, for instance. Right now, because of COVID, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and people are looking for means of livelihood. They are told. And one easy business to do is cybercrime, because all you need is a laptop and internet connection. There are free tools all over the place. There are free trainings that can teach people how to go about these things. So we're likely to see an influx of more cyber criminals.
Well, this is kind of well, I don't want to, like you rightly said, we don't need to sound like prophets of doom, but it also a good awakening for us to be able to put in place mitigating tools or mitigating systems or structure that can actually help, to, as a matter of fact, to lower the negative impact of a lot of these kinds of breaches. But before we wrap up, I would like us to touch a little bit on the oil and gas industry and probably the power industry. What are the threats of cybersecurity to the oil and gas industry as well as the power industry?
Okay, so for the oil and gas and power industry, that's a very good question because every industry have different threats that they face, and you don't try to mitigate the threat that is facing another industry and say you want to protect yourself in that way. So you need to understand your industry. For instance, what affects the bank? The bank have 16 times more chances to be attacked than the oil and gas industries, for instance, based on research. Because when you attack a bank, you touch cash directly. But when you want to attack oil and gas or power industry, what are some of the threats that they face? I give you an example. Something happened in the U.S. early this month in Florida. There was this sodium hydroxide that is supposed to be in that used to purify water. Yeah. It was attacked. Let's assume you're supposed to put 100 parts per million. The attackers changed it to 11,100 parts per million. So imagine if you're supposed to put 100 parts of sodium hydroxide per million, you're now putting 11,100. People are going to drink their deaths, by just tinkering with the formula. So the risk to them is that those systems can be accessed and the formulas can be tinkered with. That is the first thing. Their SCADA system, that's their assets. Are we sure that the right things are being done there? They cannot be, those systems cannot be mishandled. That's the first thing. Secondly, confidentiality. You want to be sure that the information that they share, because they have lots of confidential information, who have access to it. How do we ensure that the bad guys do not have access to this information? Then also the risk of ransomware. Now, this is something I've seen a lot, especially in Nigeria, for oil and gas companies and for power companies, whereby they attack them with ransomware and they encrypt their systems and then ask them to come and pay a ransom. This is very important. Then the issue of talking about the business email compromise, what I call the man in the middle, man at both ends attack, is very pervasive in oil and gas industries. Those guys, the oil and gas industries, they have business partners from across the world. So those guys try to go through their business partners' email, hijack those emails, and send transactions to them that are fake and do business with them. And when it's time to pay, they send invoice, that contains their own manufactured account number abroad. And they ship money outside the country and it is gone. So everyone needs to understand their risk posture, their threat profile, and know how exactly to protect themselves.
Okay, Tope, we're going to go on a short break. As soon as we return, I'm going to ask you the final question, one or two, as a way of wrapping up this particular interview. Please just hold on. After this break, we'll be back.
Experience unlimited super-fast internet access from Intel 4G.
Intel. Live more.
All right, thank you, viewers, for joining us. This is still Business Matters, and we are exploring the topic of cybersecurity outlook in the new normal. Joining me in the studio is Mr. Tope Aladenusi, who is of the Deloitte West Africa organization. And of course, they are one of the leading teams, if not the leader team, of cybersecurity in the country today. Tope, before we went on that short break, we were looking at the impact of cybersecurity risk in the oil and gas as well as the power sectors. However, we want to be perhaps focus a little bit on solutions, because we know so much that these challenges are out there. It's regardless of how gloomy they might seem to be, are there solutions that need to be put in place? And those solutions, are they necessarily technological or are they human interfaces? What exactly are some of the ways we can know that we ensure that our risk, our risk index or our risk outlook with regards to cybersecurity is one that can guarantee us a very seamless interaction in our businesses?
Thank you very much. So solution is very important because there is a way to be prepared. There is a way to protect yourself. So cyber is a warfare. It's a warfare. In fact, the next world war, it is predicted that we fought in cyberspace. I wrote an article about this about 7 years ago. And I know the time's going to happen. The next world war will be in cyberspace. We're already seeing nations fighting nations right now in cyberspace. So how do you protect ourselves? You think of warfare. First of all, you need a strategy. In warfare, you have to have a strategy, which means every organization, you asked a very good question earlier, and you say, what is the threat for oil and gas and for power? So every organization and every industry have the threat landscape. So you need to understand what is my threat landscape like? Who is trying to attack me, and how will they attack me? So, and how do I protect myself? So you need to have a plan that works for you, a plan that is tailored to your own environment. And before you do that plan, it's good for you to do an assessment, a health check of how you are cybersecurity wise. Technology themselves don't protect us. People protect us. So many times companies invest so much in technology and don't invest in people. But it's people that will run the technology. If you put if the best tool in the hand of the worst fool, then you have the worst result at the end of the day. So you need to you need to get train people. You need to educate everyone in the company about cyber awareness. These days, people are doing fire drills. If you are still doing only fire drills, you are living in the 90s or 80s. You should be doing cyber drills. Saying what many people are not seeing fire, but they are expressing cyber attack every day. Understand the various cyber attacks and say, okay, how do we prepare if they happen? Because cyber attack is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Everyone will be attacked. You listening to me, I'm sorry to say you'll be attacked. Every company will be attacked. Every person will be attacked. So you need to prepare yourself for such attacks. And there are systems that will help you to detect when things happen and also to bounce back. And from time to time, you are checking yourself just to be sure that you are abreast with all the latest trends and you are keeping the right security hygiene that will make you to stay ahead of the attackers.
Well, like you rightly said, it's not just about saying God forbid. It's actually being wise enough to make sure you put systems that will obviously, help you to overcome a lot of it. Because the fact that you have a digital imprint or you have a digital identity means that you are susceptible to this attack. It's just a matter of when. However, as a way of wrapping up this interview, Tope, small business owners are also part of the economic circle. But a lot of them are trying to even manage the capital that they have to ensure that their production or process outlays are ones that we ensure they are still profitable and also sustainable. How important is cybersecurity to even the small business owner? Would they be afraid of the costs, or are there very scalable solutions that they themselves can actually explore for their own business sustainability?
I think that's a very, very good question, and I must be sincere. It's a very, very good question because small businesses many times they have so little, and trying to protect themselves, is not. It appears to be the last thing on their mind. But think about it. If you lose that money you're trying to make, then what's the purpose of working for it? Because there is a potential for you to lose that money, then you need to prepare for it. Just like in those days when people take money to the bank, you ensure that from the place of taking the money to when you go to the bank, there is good security. You put it in a bag. You don't go and enter any kind of a bus. You want to be sure how you get to the bank. So you just have some level of security that works for your level. In the same way, for small businesses, if you don't protect yourself, your money is likely to go. So what I would advise is that there are scaled down version of cybersecurity practices that is necessary for everybody. For instance, use a good password. Your password should not be 1234 or Jesus is Lord or I am going up. It should be at least 8 characters, something that is strong with alphanumeric characters. This is something that is very important. Use a good antivirus. Because many times when attackers attack systems, they throw in something. They throw in some malicious programs, which if your antivirus is good and up to date, it can prevent it. If you are doing business cyber online, then you need to ensure that
you have protected
the necessary to protect yourself as much as
all right
possible.
Thank you so very much, Tope Aladenusi. You've done a very excellent expose for us. As a matter of fact, we will make sure we authenticate our password as well as get up-to-date antivirus. As little as that, as those interventions are, they will go a long way to protect us. We want to say a big thank you one more time for making it a date with us on Business Matter. We hope perhaps in the future, when we extend another invitation, yourself or your organization will gladly honor our invitation as you've done today.
Definitely. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so very much. Well, viewers, that's so much we can bring to you on this interview segment. Please stay tuned. Business Matters continues after now.
Business Matter. Let's talk business. Business Matter.
Cybersecurity obviously is here to stay as long as we are all involved in businesses that deals with online interaction. We must also be digitally aware. As you have imagined and you've seen, it's better for you to evolve so that you do not dissolve. Investing in all of those systems, all of those human intervention, as well as technology, will help us to be 21st century compliant. This is so much we can bring to you on Business Matters. Please follow us on all our social media platforms as well as our websites, where you will get more details on our programs and every other programs from the stables of the NTA2 Lagos Network Center. My name is Stephen Ipadobolosin. Until I come your way again, bye-bye for now. And remember, if you evolve, you will not dissolve.